why party at the end of the week, or we can party on a Sunday. So we're back with another episode of Party on a Podcast. I have one of the homiest of homies with me today. I've known this dude for quite some time, since he was rocking with me doing the ugly country music video at Hatfield Farms, road trips to Cape Breton and back. This dude has been, I'd say, at day one as far as I've known him. But ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell Bailey, we have in the Zoom call, in the podcast today. Welcome, my dude.
Zoom. Thank you, man. That was a great introduction. You really put that into perspective, actually, because that's true. When you shot that music video, that was like 2015, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's 6 years ago. So I think, depending on what the timeline is, that could be day one.
Well,
depending on how many days there is.
It definitely was around there, because I mean that the whole connection was Moose really shooting the music video, and then you're like, I'm gonna be there too, and it was like we just vibed the entire way from Halifax to Hatfield Farms, and not like it's a long drive, but we were vibing the entire way because we ended up going to Peggy's Cove as well to shoot some scenes.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. It's only probably like 2 or 3 actual shots in the music video, just because they didn't fit really the vibe. But enough about me, dude. This episode's about you. Let's.
No, man. I mean, hey, I know this could be about you. It could be about anybody. My mom.
So well, there you go. But how I see it, like, Party on a Podcast is basically bringing you down to earth. Not that you're up in the sky or anything, or up in your ego or anything like that, but just showing you for you, as opposed to just you as an artist, and showing the people.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we're all humans at the end of the day, so I like to bring it down to a level of humbleness that you can just appreciate a little bit more. So, yeah, turn that shit off.
Oh shit. Damn.
Yeah, so Mitchell Bailey, we have in the podcast today. Like I said, we're just doing a deep dive to start. So let's get the origin story. Where did the Mitchell? No, you look like you were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say that actually the first time that we ever met was 2014. I think it was the Gottingen Festival in the was it called Alter Ego? Is that the name of that place? Like the back room, and you were performing. And I didn't even think that you were a rapper, because it's just like you had like the nice what do I call it, border shorts. You were dressed like me, and I was like, oh man, like, are you doing the sound? You're like, oh no, man, I'm doing my sound check. I was like, nice, bro.
That's fun.
And
I don't. Yeah. Was it that, or was it like the G250 thing that we did at like the bus stop theater?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I remember that now. Yeah, that was I actually have a picture of that, and I was like, what was I wearing? Why was I wearing what I was wearing during that?
That was 2014 swag,
2014, bro. Yeah, man. That's the origin of EPDMC. So
yeah, I have one of your shirts too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's legit. So back to where I was going, but where did the whole Mitchell Bailey? Why didn't you choose a rap name? For one, but where did the whole Mitchell Bailey as a rapper / artist begin?
So the reason I didn't choose a name was just because I never thought that I could be able to have like a career in music under a completely different identity, I guess. Like, I just feel like my music is really, I think, personal for the most part. So I think it would be difficult to throw like the thoughts that I convey in my music and the experiences that I kind of document through my music under a different alias. And when I was first started to write music and put it out, like, my favorite rappers at the time were like Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I guess, which is they are under their name. J. Cole, I guess, to an extent is still rapping using his name. So
yeah.
I just never, it wasn't really even anything that honestly I had a dilemma with. I wasn't like, do I go with the name or do I not go with the name? I think I just automatically was always like, I'm going to be Mitchell Bailey.
Yeah. Respect that, though. I mean, there's a lot of people. I see when it comes to my name, I wouldn't. Mark Walker just doesn't sound like a name you'd want to hear in like the grandstands at fucking Lollapalooza or some shit like that. Doesn't sound like you. That's the name that you would scream out. You know?
It kind of sounds like someone who's like in the mafia. Or you would have like a movie after, like there would be somebody would like.
It doesn't help that Mark Wahlberg is so close to Mark Walker.
You know? Oh, that's true. Maybe I was gonna say that as well. You could also be an actor or like someone that a famous actor plays. Like Mark Wahlberg could play Mark Walker.
Yeah.
In a movie, or Al Pacino could play Mark Walker. I feel like Mark Walker is more of like a like an old school mob boss or something. I would go see Mark Walker at Lollapalooza. I would.
So when did it all start? When did it all start for you making music?
Making music started ninth grade. I started writing music. So basically, I remember the first line I ever wrote had something to do with listening to Kendrick Lamar, because I listened to so much Kendrick Lamar around the time that I really started writing. I don't know what that line was, but I wrote it in my notes of like I had like the BlackBerry that had the touch screen before everyone, like I had like the most high tech new school version of a BlackBerry when everyone else had iPhones. It was like BlackBerry's attempt at an iPhone, and that's what I was writing all my shit on.
I know that exact phone.
Yeah, like nobody had that. No. That was a good phone. Yeah. But anyway, so I started writing on that phone. That the phone had nothing to do with this, but I started writing, and like it was ninth grade, so I was 14, and I saw some other people start putting out, like there was a few, like very few other like rappers from my area that were around my age at the time, and I felt like they were getting a lot of hate because they wrote. They put out their first verse that they ever wrote. So obviously that's not going to be the greatest thing anyone has ever heard. And I saw that it kind of got a lot of, hate from my age group and whatnot. Like, who does this guy think he is? He's rapping. So I was like, I'm going to hold off on telling anyone that I'm doing this. And I'm going to just kind of write as much as I can for about a year until I get to the point where I'm just confident enough and like just undeniably confident about what I'm writing and recording here that I can put it out and be assured that like a decent amount of people would be into what I'm doing and maybe believe in what I'm trying to do here. But I put out my first song in 10th grade. I was recording on a USB mic through Audacity.
We've been there.
Yeah, and I was just sending it to a few people that I knew could like mix and stuff. But then there was this dude that was in a couple of my classes in high school. Shout out to Matthew Nicholson, but he's just one of those guys. He's just like a musical genius. Like he just would like learn instruments for just for the fun of learning a new instrument. And he had all the stuff set up. We were recording on Logic, and I think he just kind of wanted to polish up his producer engineering skills. So I would go over his house every weekend and we would record. And that was just like some of the more pure memories I have. Like the whole music thing. And but as soon as I put out my first song, like there was no turning back for me. It was like the end of grade 10. I put out my first song and people were, relatively positive with the reactions to it, like people I went to high school with and stuff. And then every couple of weeks put out a new song. And then in the summer I had my first mixtape come out, Early Morning Cartoons. This is still around the time where like the place to upload it to was DatPiff. So I was uploading the mixtape to DatPiff, and me and my buddy Mitch Turner, who I do the podcast with now, who does all my graphic design and has always done all my cover art.
Shout out Mitch Turner.
Yep. And we would go to Staples and get the blank CDs, and then go burn the mixtape onto the blank CD, and he would make the cover, and we print it out on like the laminated paper or whatever, and we line that shit up and sell hard copies for $5. And if we sold like 20, we felt like we were blown up. So great times.
Man. I know that feeling. I'm sure if you haven't been there as a rapper / artist, then you haven't really done it yet. So you got to start there. You definitely have to that physical hard grind. There's got to be an element of your journey, I feel. And I mean, it's just something you have to experience to really know what the hustle is. And
Yeah.
it lets you appreciate it later on when people actually start listening to it just because it sounds good, instead of going out of their way to go to a show to maybe get your CD, to maybe catch the last song of your set kind of deal. So
I feel bad for artists that don't. Well, I think I was probably one of the last few of that generation that could like experience what it was like to sell physical hard copies of your project. But that was fun, man. I kind of wish that I was coming up like in 2005. So like that the only way people were able to hear my stuff was through CDs, because I think that would just be such a fulfilling experience, like just hustling a bunch of CDs, and that's basically like the main source of how people can hear your music is by buying your CD and listening to it.
2005 for me, dude. 2005 was legitimately when I started.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So were you hustling CDs?
Yeah, dude. Like high school was weird for me because nobody really took it seriously. But I had like going through high school, I had sent out like I did them myself, obviously, because there was no services that I could afford, let alone know about at that time. But like at least three, maybe four, like mixtapes, whether they were short or long.
Yeah.
But was printing those out, like you said, getting the blank CDs, putting those on CDs, writing on the actual CD what it was so people knew what it was, because I didn't have anything to print on the CD. But that's all I did, and like that's what I did through high school, because that's all I knew at the time. There was no resources around that I knew about at the time. So I mean, the times are definitely different.
Definitely, man. And that's definitely an advantage of the streaming era, is that people can come across your music and they don't necessarily have to pay any kind of upfront cost to take a chance on listening to something that they've never heard of before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The thing is probably that would have made that more difficult selling CDs, and for someone to hear the music for the first time to even determine if they like it or not, they would be paying you money. I think they still do that shit in like Times Square in New York. Like someone will like pass you their CD and then they'll be like, oh yeah, it's $10. You got it now because it's in your hand. But yeah, man, that was definitely times like that. And I remember the best feeling ever, even like to this day, and have experiences like the last year, is like selling anything, like selling. I had like a lot of hoodies and stuff that I was selling last year, and even, you know, the days of selling the physical CDs and everything. Like I would always keep a list, and I still would do this to this day, just in case, like if there was any kind of like thank yous I wanted to do, or like do a draw for something in the future from people that have purchased something that I was selling. And I would, you know, I always keep a list of like everyone that bought something, and then like, you know, how many copies they bought, or how many hoodies they bought, or, you know, whatever, just so I could like be grateful and look back at that list and be like, okay, these people are, this is growing something. This is a business. This is
exactly.
You know, and
it's dope. I mean, keeping track of that shit's not easy though, too. So power to you, bro. I mean, you take pride. It sounds like you take pride in doing that kind of shit. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, who are we without our fans? Right. So.
Yeah. I just like I like doing anything. I like to see stuff grow. Like, I just like that's why I kind of started the podcast, because I'm just like, I want to be able to get like kind of what you're doing here. You have me on as a guest. I can't wait till I'm going to start opening it up to guests and everything once we have our permanent in-person location. And we would have probably did that earlier, but, you know, we get shut down with COVID and everything, and we're back on Zoom and stuff.
Happens, man.
But yeah, just the idea of just, you know, whether it's music, brand, whatever, just growing an audience. And
that's essentially what that's where the hustle comes from for me. That I wanted another outlet, and I didn't want to have to use my music platform to talk about certain either social issues or whatever. I don't like to get into politics too much when it comes to the podcast, just because that can be lengthy within everything. So we can talk about that afterwards, but I'd rather leave the podcast to talk about you, your home life, your music, whatever I can do to put you on or put emphasis on you is the whole thing behind it. Like, I've never been so selfless when it comes to a podcast. Like, I hate talking. That's why I was saying we started talking about me at the start of the podcast. And I was like, dude, I don't want to talk about me. This is not about me. This episode is not about me. This episode is about you. It's a time in my life where, like, I'm 30 now. I can admit it. I'm not scared of it anymore, because I thought 30s was going to be the fucking death of me. And I just accepted that if we don't grow the community as a whole, as creatives, then we're just selling ourselves short. So bringing other people onto the podcast and not being afraid to allowing them to share their successes, their victories, and all that stuff, along with their failures, of course, because we're all human. But like allowing other people to do that is something that's giving me some feel good vibes and everything like that. Like it just makes me feel better about myself at the end of the day, because I'd rather, like, if I don't make it to the top, I'd rather have somebody on here that I can help get to the top, or be at least be a stepping stone. Like I don't care. Like it's not that big of a deal to me.
And I think as artists too, we're very particular with the usage of words, right? Like we're I mean, they're just like the English language, and for me anyway, when I'm talking, sometimes I will have these periods where I break in between me saying something because I'm trying to think of like the best possible word to use to describe something. And I think that the same kind of thing when it comes, like the same kind of part in my brain that appreciates writing music kind of comes in having a conversation as well. And that's why I think like doing a podcast is a different outlet, because it's just like it's like if you freestyled for an hour and a half, but don't necessarily have to do anything that is like too overly calculated. Like I love the idea of just kind of like just yeah, exactly. It's really cool. So I get why.
Shout out to Cape Breton trips, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that's only the main like that's a starting segment of this whole podcast, but like I'll gladly keep talking like that. Cause I mean, like this is the kind of conversation that I feel like we haven't had in a long time, but at the same time, I appreciate these conversations because they're wholesome, they're real, they're not forced. And that's what I want to be able to bring to this podcast as well, because like I hate forcing conversation. It's nothing worse. And I talked to Jacob about it. I was like, I don't talk to these artists. I don't talk to these people in my community, whether you're in Cape Breton or not. It doesn't matter. We're in the same community. That with the only time we converse is when we're at shows and it's like, hey, what's up? Let's collaborate sometime. That's the end of the conversation. And that shit bothers me now, because it's like we live in a time where we're losing people left, right, and center to God knows what, violence or disease or unexpectedness. And like I'm tired of wasting opportunities and wasting time potentially doing something when I can do that now. So that's why these podcasts seem to be essential to me. I think it's a therapy to me, but allowing myself to learn about the people that I'm interviewing that I've actually wanted to know more than just an artist for the longest time, because we've chatted and we've hung out and we've taken trips clearly together, but at the same time, it's I don't really know that much about you other than that, and the fact that you live really close to where my grandmother lived, you know?
Yeah. Or your aunt or something. Your aunt cuts
it was my grandmother at the time. Yeah. But my aunt as well. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So let's keep this moving then, because I mean, I still feel like I'm talking about myself. Inspirations now versus when you started, are they the same? Are they different? Have they changed?
Wow, that is an interesting question, because I think the general question that everybody always asks is like, what was your biggest inspiration? Mm-hmm. And I think that I've answered that question, 30 times in my life doing interviews or something like that. But when I really think about, because I feel like inspiration has always changed, and that's a fantastic question, because stuff that I resonate with right now might not be something that I related with 2 or 3 years ago, because what I've experienced is different now. You know what I mean? Like I have a different perspective on certain things because of what I have experienced and because of certain situations. So musically, there's definitely different artists, even if I don't necessarily take anything from their music and kind of incorporate that into what I make, just more so the kind of energy and inspiration I get from the stuff that they're putting out for me to go and then do my own thing is important. So like there's this rapper who I discovered like over 2 years ago now. I found him when I was in Montreal, but he's from Florida. He goes by Ice Billion Bird. And I just like his whole message in his music. He's kind of like, he's one of these artists that you could tell could have went the mainstream major label route, but decided to opt out of that and just hustle his ass off and just put out a wide discography of really thoughtful music. But his music is the overall message in his music is like, you know, the hustle related stuff, and just talking about like being an owner and like he opened his own store in Florida, and he has I think he has a few stores now, and he's signed another artist, but he's like very well respected in the Florida scene specifically. But like he used to be signed to Trick Daddy, I believe, and he has some songs with Rick Ross and stuff. And when he follows me on Instagram and stuff, because I just have showed him love, and I've talked to his manager a few times and whatnot. But so I found him about 2 years ago, and to this day, like his music is really motivational to me. Like I'll go for runs and listen to his, like, just any of his albums, because he puts out a lot of stuff, and it's not really the type of music that could fall under the same categories, a lot of like trap music, and just kind of be like a lot of redundant topics and everything. Like he has really every song has some quotable lines, whether they're not really necessarily like punch lines per se all the time, but just like really well thought out lyrics, and his beat selection is awesome. So he's an artist that I listen to a lot now. I think I listen to a lot of like entrepreneurial like rappers, because myself, I'm trying to really, my goal at the end of the day is to be able to make my own money, own my own shit, whether that's having a whole media company through the podcast and stuff, and then obviously touring with music at Birch and you know, releasing albums, everything that I've been doing over the last 6-7 years, and kind of just branch out with that and just own my own shit, and then help through the connections and resources that I, you know, develop over doing this for so long, and kind of give that to the next talented, driven person. So I like to listen to artists that kind of talk about, you know, just the grind, for lack of a better word. But I mean, obviously the Mac Millers, the Tyler the Creators, all those guys, like that's what musically I resonate with, just like this type of music that they make the most, probably more than ever now. Like my new project that I'm putting out is mostly like kind of taking it back to the type of music that inspired me when I first started and what I was making, which is like more of the traditional hip hop sounds, but a little bit more of like lo-fi, atmospheric, boom bap related stuff. So that's what I find I resonate best with musically. So that's the type of music that artists like Mac Miller, you know, even J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Tyler, these are like the very base, Childish Gambino. Always been a big Travis Scott fan. Like musically, just the type of stuff they make, I feel like I relate with more, just as far as like comparison to what I make. But like the hustler music is what gets me going. It's the juices, man. It's a long
I can't hate on that. Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's a good answer, because I mean, you're justifying why your inspirations have changed, and that was essentially the end of the question. And you're saying, have they changed? Clearly they have, but they've developed, I think, more than changed. Mm-hmm. Just where they've gone from being inspired to having a vision of where your end goal is. Not necessarily end goal, but like the bigger picture, I guess.
I think more mature music makes more sense to me now than it did like 3 years ago.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, it's definitely resonated a lot more with me lately. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, these things about talking about just the content in the music is a lot more important to me now than it ever has been, just because if it's not something that I'm going to either learn from or be inspired by or want to thrive to be like, it's not in my, or, I mean, there's always the times when you want to turn up whatever the case is. But when it comes to being inspired and everything, if it doesn't have those qualities, it's probably not in my playlist.
Yeah, like I remember listening to Good AM by Mac Miller last week, and I was thinking, like, every song off this album gives me chills at one point during this song. Like, I posted on my Instagram story and I said that. Like, I love instrumentals that have, like, almost like choir vocals sampled in them. Like if you listen to like any Drake intro or outro, those are the type of beats that I always just, if I hear one and I'm writing to it, the lyrics just kind of naturally come out without me having to think too much about it. I like thoughtful, like I like stuff that, you know, is the artist being vulnerable, yet still like
it brings out the best in people when they're vulnerable, though. I think so.
I agree. I think that's what people look for, really, at the end of the day. That's the stuff that has longevity. Someone is capable of tapping into that. And that's
when, like, when you go from talking about the lap and luxury to turning it into like talking about family, what you're really going through, the struggles that you're going through, whether that to be depression or just money problems, whatever it is. If you're talking about it, talk about it, because I guarantee you there's plenty of people on this earth that are going through that same shit.
Well, there's more people that can relate to that than the alternative.
Yeah, exactly. So let's keep this moving. What separates you from other artists? Like, what do you find helps you stand out as an artist?
I
saw the expression on your face. I was like, that's gonna be an interesting answer. I like it.
I think that what can separate me from every other artist, may not be the best answer, but like, is what separates you from every artist, or anyone from any other artist, as long as they're being true to themselves. My experience and what I talk about in my music is about what I go through on a day-to-day basis and what I have experienced leading up to this point, and how that shifted my perspective on everything, and where the beliefs that I develop over time, and where I see myself. So no one will be able to replicate what I do, because they aren't me, So
it's probably the best answer you could probably get from that.
Yeah. I mean,
it really is. It's simple, but it's very true.
I feel like some rappers will answer that question as if it's like a job interview. Like, well, they'll start listening.
I guess that's where the trick falls in with the question. Cause I mean, it really either makes you really think about what makes you you, or it makes you think like your answer and says, I am who I am. Nobody can be me.
I think that makes it a lot easier when it comes to what you create, because if you're trying to chase something that is either a trend, or you're trying to chase making something sound like the most radio friendly, or, playlist friendly, and there's just too much of a calculated thought process to what you're creating, then you're not really being an artist anymore. You're being more of a salesperson. Yep. And you're being more of you're trying to create a product that will be able to resonate with a certain demographic. Where I'm not going to lie, if I'm making a song, sometimes I'm going to be like, sometimes I'll think about the type of person that would listen to it and like it, whether it's a specific person or a type of person. But that's not like I'm writing. That just will happen throughout the process, and that might motivate me more and give me more ideas and help me finish the song. But I think that if the longevity to be able to, like, just the longevity as far as just being able to create over a longer period of time than other artists would be if you just be yourself in your music as much as possible, because you're always gonna, as long as you always have original thoughts, then that's the hardest part.
That's half the battle. Yeah,
exactly.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So, I mean, we basically covered that in the next question, but if you were to define your sound, what would you call it? It's an odd question, because I mean, it.
Like, if I had to name it a genre?
Well, yeah. You could call.
I would call it like conscious, confident music.
Conscious what?
Conscious, confident music.
Confident. Okay.
Yeah, it's like confident, like I believe in what I'm saying, but I'm also like overanalyzing a lot of this shit.
Yeah,
but it's not fucking
very aware.
Yeah.
I got you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, whether this be personal or career?
Career, it's hard to predict. I mean, I would like to be definitely in the next 5 years, without a doubt, based off of just the amount of work that I put in leading up to this point and what I do on a day-to-day basis within music and beyond music. I would like to be completely self-sufficient off of things that I have made, and essentially be my own boss. Not like, I mean, I could live in Nova Scotia. I'm going to definitely, as soon as this COVID restriction dies, like as soon as we can actually get on a plane and go, I feel like it's a major priority for me to travel and see as many like different countries as I possibly can, like go to Europe and get on that train and just jump I need to like just see shit. I need to experience different culture and all that stuff. So I would like to maybe live in a different country or something. Like, I can't give you the step-by-step game plan as to how I'm going to get to that point, but that's like best case scenario, like to have it be like a lot more cultured and in control. And that's the game plan. And I'm going to be putting that into motion as soon as I can depart. And I think to see the music critics to be touring and doing shows where people are buying tickets to come see me, to grow the fan base through the music, to release better music than I ever have had, to grow the podcast, maybe have other artists being developed under me, maybe have a media company somehow that branches off from the podcast, have a house. I don't know. Who knows though? I might become a doctor. I don't know that,
but 5 years, I know 5 years is a long time, but that's why I bring it up, because I mean, essentially you think about life, you have like short-term goals, long-term goals, whether that long-term be 5 years or long-term only be a year. Because I mean, some people don't like to look too far ahead because it either A, scares them, or B, they just physically cannot predict what is going to happen. And we live in a time where you cannot predict what is going to happen right now, especially since COVID happened last year. I mean, everything's literally been up in the air, minus the flights. Yeah. But like, we're in a time where we literally have to ride by the seat of our pants until we can actually start moving again. Because I mean, we're doing this because we can't, because I can't, because you can't come to the city, or I can't come to Cape Breton. Because I mean, I would have loved to come to Cape Breton to do this shit. That would have been the best road trip. Man, I would do pretty much. Like, you don't really have to give me much of a reason to go anywhere right now if I can. Like, if I had to drive, if I knew I could go to Halifax just to do this, I would probably go to Halifax, because I haven't left this is probably the longest I've ever went, maybe in my whole life, even just going to Halifax for like random family trips when I was a kid. Like, I think this might be the longest I've ever went without crossing that bridge off of Cape Breton. Yeah, man. Which is nuts. It's messed up. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that's going to make us appreciate the freedom that we've always had way more when we can get back into reality. And I, like, the other day when, you know, the government released that, the government of Nova Scotia released that phase by phase, the re-entering back into normal plan or whatever. A lot of people had a lot of criticism for just the way that it was put together, and, you know, the timeline and everything. And I get that there definitely is a lot of conflicting restrictions and guidelines that were written in each section. Whatever, people could debate that all day, but it gives me optimism to just see that, because it's like, regardless of whether or not you agree with how they deal with the situation, and everyone has a different opinion, it's just nice to see we're at that point where there is a plan to reopen for real back to normal. Yeah. You know, I mean, whether it be 2, 4, 6 weeks, it doesn't matter. It's a plan to get back to normal. And that's probably the most optimistic way of seeing this whole disaster go. So. And I'll take it, because the difference between this time right now and this time last year was, this time people are getting vaccinated, which justifies a reopening, I think. And I think it's hard to argue against that. So, long story short, I don't know how we got into that, but 5-year plan, traveling, I'd go anywhere for any reason. Yeah, man. So we talked about it briefly. Side hustles, business ventures, name them. What do you got? Just for the people that don't know you, that are listening to this podcast, you know? Well, aside from music and everything, I've launched the podcast. I've everything that I've been putting out, it's all on the same YouTube channel, because I kind of look at it as like, yes, it's an artist channel that I put out the music. The OCD inside of me that I've always had over the years, kind of like, damn it, should I put this on a different channel? But you know what? I'm like, my YouTube channel should just be anything that I want to create. When I went to Panama last year, I put the Panama vlogs on my YouTube channel that has the art, the music note next to it. And I'm just like, you know what? Everything is going to be in the same place, because these are just all different things that I create. So the podcast, or you look like you're going to say something there. No. It was just funny because you say the OCD and you hate that, and I was like, I guarantee you, I'm creating a new YouTube channel for Marked because I don't want to touch EPDMC. I don't want to have that under the same thing because it's not. Essentially, it's a rebranding, and I can't justify it in the center core of my being. I can't do that. Just the OCD in me hates it.
I'm big like that too, but sometimes I think I have to throw it at the window. And the reason for the YouTube channel, because I'm like, well, if I'm starting to get some higher profile guests on this podcast and their fans start watching the podcast through my YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, I like this podcast, whoever the hell this is, and they hit subscribe, and then I put out a music video, and they're like, oh, what, he makes music? And then they like the music, and then they become a fan, then I can kind of see that as a way to attract more fans by kind of branching out the type of creative stuff I put out on there. But side hustles, so the podcast, I also have a secret YouTube channel that I've never promoted on any of my personal social medias, where I'm just basically screen recording Instagram lives of rappers and putting it up onto the channel, and using and just kind of like an experiment where I'm doing it. I put super clickbaity titles, I make super clickbaity thumbnails. I put in a bunch of keywords for people that would be probably looking for this video to find it. And it's weird because obviously there's no promo, but some of the videos have now got a couple thousand views and stuff. And anytime I'm just hanging out, I'm like, oh, this rapper's live. I have notifications on for every rapper. And I'll just go screen record it. That's and I'll put it up. And if the subscribers I'm starting to get a couple subscribers on it and stuff. So if it ever gets to a point where there's hundreds of thousands or whatever, I might do some commentary, give my 2 cents on certain things. And then eventually, if it goes how I would want it to go, it'd be a little face reveal, and then I could promote my own shit on it, and then boom. Aside from that, I've been doing some social media marketing for restaurants around here, and I have become obsessed with investing in crypto and lots of stuff over the last year, but crypto mostly the last 2 months, and it's pretty fascinating. But over the last few days, because I got in these groups with all these people that are on the ends. I was watching all these YouTube videos, join my Telegram, and I got in the group, but it's I was getting notifications all day, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, maybe this is an opportunity to get rich, and I'm and it's great. I invest, as much as I possibly can, because I think there's some great opportunity in that if you get in at the right time. But sometimes you gotta shut it off, because it's very easy to just kind of be checking that shit all the time. So yeah, that's fair
enough.
That's the hustle.
It's a decent amount, but I mean, keeps you busy clearly. So
yeah, and I like to go for runs to clear my mind, and it feels good keeping healthy.
Fair enough. All right, on to the more personal section, just so we can tap into the real Mitchell Bailey. The people that only see the music.
I love this show.
So if you had to, I was going through music videos and song selection, title selection, what one do you think was the most? I guess we're still not into the personal section yet, but are you just doing that? Do you just do that
for the IG story, bro?
Song selection and I guess title selection for songs. What inspires you for titles? Because I mean, everybody has their own. I usually use the first fucking word or two in the fucking song to or the most used word in the song that I would usually put. But what inspires your song titles?
I like fucked up song titles. I like really weird shit that doesn't even words that
XXX Tentacion.
Yes, I have a shirt. His shirt. I'm not even a giant. I'm not even a huge X fan. My mom just got me this shirt for Easter. She's like, "This is rap music," but
that's crazy.
Yeah, well, actually, no. Most of the time, the names of my songs will be whatever the most frequent word in the chorus is. But it just depends. I feel song titles are super important. I think there's a lot of psychological shit that is mad important that you could either pay a lot of attention to or not pay a lot of attention to when it comes to advertising your music or anything. I think thumbnails are really important. The way captions are worded are really important. The way captions and Instagram stories are worded are really important. I think in song titles. And I think the song title needs to like very like as minimalist as possible be able to define how the song will make you feel. Like
Fair.
I have this song on my new EP, and it's like the only song that is just like just crazy bars, bananas, like 3 verses, just talking about random funny shit. Like, and I had the title the song title was called Make Donald Glover Rap Again, because Donald Glover is Childish Gambino, and he was one of my favorite rappers, and he has not put out anything where he raps since like 2016 or 17 when he put out that America song, which I always thought was like as a song it was a hard song, but like it wasn't a song that gave you the satisfaction of like a Childish Gambino verse, because he was doing like a very choppy flow that wasn't really doing much.
The visuals made more of an impact than the actual song did.
Definitely, yeah. But so it was just a line in the song like "May all my dreams." The line was like I think I could rap. "May all my dreams and naps I live, and Donald Glover rap again," or something like that. And I was like, would that be a great song title? Make Donald Glover rap again. So I sent it off when I submitted my EP last week, and I got an email back. I was like, we can't use that title because it's misleading because it contains the name of a famous person. I was like, I have a song called Oprah Winfrey.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, so I had to change it. But depends on the kind of song. Like if it's a song that I think could have like a lot of like marketability, I would probably pick like the most like the, because you got to think like if someone only remembers a song, they hear it somewhere and they only remember it by a word that's like a line that's in the chorus, then if they're trying to look it up, they're probably going to type in like the artist name in that line or something, right? Or just type in that line, so it can make it easier for them to find the song. Where if a song is, it doesn't have like the song title doesn't have the line, like if the song title doesn't have the lyrics in it at all, and it can make that a little bit harder, So
fair.
I'm not someone that like comes up with a song title before I write the song, though. I know there's some people that do that. Like,
I could never. It doesn't sit well with me just because like that can't dictate. I feel like I could never write a song dictated by the title. The title is dictated by the song.
Yeah, no, exactly. I remember when I went to the Gordy Sampson song camp, which was like still one of the best experiences that I've had in my career. It's just a great environment, but that was a thing. I remember like the first year I went, he was like, think of some song titles. I never thought of it like that. Like because a song title to me is just like whatever the catchiest word is that I just wrote after it's over. Like I'll finish a song and be like, I don't know what this is called. It's like that Kendrick Lamar EP where every song was like Untitled 1, Untitled 2, Untitled 3.
Yeah. So but unmixed, unmastered, or whatever.
Yeah.
Fair
Crazy.
Enough. When it comes to home life, what's your daily routine nowadays, especially with COVID?
Jump in the shower and just cry for 3 hours. Oh man, I don't know right now. Everything's crazy, bro. I had an apartment for like almost a year. But it was like in Glace Bay. I was like, man, if I'm gonna be living on my own out here, I should be living in like a different place. But I was like, I can't go anywhere. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just take all that money that I was spending on living there at my own and move in with my dad. And then he like sold the house. So now I'm like at my mom's, and now I'm like, fuck, I need to get another place, or I need to move to like Germany. So not really Germany, but no. I'd like to like, I don't know. I'd like to live in like Toronto or like fucking.
It wouldn't be too
maybe bad. I'll just drive to California and live in my car until I like become friends with
van life,
Samuel Jackson or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, COVID makes everything crazy right now. So I'm just waiting for things to kind of open up, and then I'm gonna make some kind of substantial move. But on a day-to-day basis, like I keep pretty busy right now. Like I can't if I'm unoccupied for too long, like I'll go crazy.
Yep.
So I'll run like about 6 kilometers a day because I'm like a dog that's like really energetic in the morning and like just like freaks out. So I need to like.
I've been seeing that on.
Yeah, I post so many Instagram stories when I'm running, but I'm like, this is content. I gotta be pumping something out here. Like Jesus. And then I'll go for a lot of hikes too. Me and my girlfriend will go for. There's like a lot of nice places to hike around
Still
here.
with the same girl?
Yep. Going strong.
That's nice.
But I'll write. I decided a couple days ago that I'm going to work on a new album. So I think I wrote what would be the intro to that. And aside from, over the next few weeks, I'm really about to go hard with promoting this new EP that I have coming out. And then every day I was going down to this restaurant that I was doing social media marketing for a lot before dining in was shut down for the time being.
True.
But I try to post a clip from the podcast every day onto YouTube. So I'll make a thumbnail for that and find the clip and do all that shit. And yeah, man. And then every day is different. I mean, just to keep your brain moving during these crazy, unpredictable times. But it just depends on the time of the month. It's always my time of the month.
Fair enough. Favorite pastime when you're not doing music? Like, what do you do in your free time when you're not doing music? Or do you do anything in your free time when you're not doing music?
Well, I feel like music is a part of all of the things that I enjoy doing that are like labeled as productive. So
when you're not working, working.
Yeah, definitely know I'm trying to think. Well, usually I would hang out with somebody and like drink a beer and talk about things and have fun. But like, I feel like we've only been locked down for like 2 weeks, but I feel like it's been an eternity. Like, I don't think I've been like this. Not like I don't feel like I've been this compliant with the rules, but I feel like the rules were kind of like up in the air for so long that it was like, it's still COVID and you still can't do everything, but you can kind of do a decent amount of things. Where like, the last 2 weeks have been like so long, but I'm trying to remember, like, what do I do for fun? When there's so little fun. Lately I like to go for fucking hikes to the woods and in the middle of the day when it's sunny out and like drink one beer and be like, oh, this is a vibe. It makes me inspired. But I got a new car in February. It's like the first nice car I've ever had. It's a 2020 Toyota Camry. So Toyota Camry gang for life. Like to go for some cruises and that, but maybe go for a run, go for a hike, have a little drink and hang with some pals. I mean, in the summer, last summer, I went camping a lot. I plan on doing that this summer. Go camping.
I haven't gone camping in years, bro, and it's been long overdue.
It's fun, man. It's fun for the most part. I like to travel, man. I like to
travel too, but I mean, I don't go camping to travel. When I travel, I travel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Me too. But like the fun, like the domestic travel that you can do right now in the summer, camping is like dope shit. Or like get like an Airbnb in the middle of the woods and like have a bonfire and like shoot pellet guns at cans.
Who has Airbnbs in the middle of the woods? But yeah,
I guess there's a lot in Cape Breton.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Really, like I like to play. I was a huge soccer guy in my early days. So
I feel like you still are decently.
I am. That's cool, man. Tell me more. Do I portray that?
Well, Mr. Searle does definitely talk about you a lot when it comes to the sport of football.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good thing. Yeah, I like to play it. I was like very committed to it when I was a younger lad. So if there's ever a chance I get to kick the ball around, I did a couple weeks ago. That's a fucking blast. So I like to do that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Favorite song of all time, no matter the genre. Because I mean, you could always have a favorite rap song, but if you could pick one song that you can always turn on and always be okay with listening to it, and always, I don't know, just favorite song of all time.
Of all time? Yeah. I'm looking at my Spotify and I'm just like, definitely an impossible question. I don't think it's possible to answer that question.
My best friend Jacob would argue that.
Why? He said
he had an answer for it.
No way. What was his answer?
Like, you can't make me do this. I don't even remember. he had it on the tip of his tongue though. It's like no
Like, he
matter
knew
what,
it.
this song, yeah, it was. I don't know. I
You know,
didn't
isn't it?
expect him to be that
He did it
precise, but he was
so
ready.
he thought about it
Yeah.
for sure. I'm sure he was asked that a lot. And how old is he? He's in his 30s for sure, right?
Yeah, he'd be just older than me, I think.
No, like for sure he's in his 30s. Like he looks older. That's the way I said that was like he's definitely in his 30s.
Making him sound.
No, I just feel like he's been around for a long time. But yeah, he probably thought about that. I don't know. Why did he have like a strong opinion on it? Is you are?
It's always just been something that has. I think it had like a deeper meaning to it, or it had like a relation to it, like earlier on in life, or something like a time in his life kind of deal.
Okay.
Like
I get that.
Man in the Mirror for me, always can listen to that one. Like that's a major one for me with Michael Jackson. It's always, it's got me through hard times. It's just a good song. It's a great song. Also, In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. But those two songs in general,
those slap.
Yeah, man. But like
I have a playlist
rap song, so I mean,
I have a playlist on my phone. It has like, I made it one night when I was like drunk like 4 months ago. I was like by a bonfire. It's called Best Songs of All Time. And as I'm looking at it though, like these songs don't even come close. They're great songs. There's like San Marcos by Brock. They're all like very beautiful songs, like Nights by Frank Ocean.
yeah.
I don't know. It's probably, I wish there was like some way to like analyze that just based off of the amount of times that I wish there was some way I could track. I wish I could see what the song was I listened to the most in my whole life. And like, I wish there was
like a digital version of your life listenings.
If only there was a chip in my brain that would give me that analysis. Luckily I got the COVID vaccine. So hopefully it starts sending me like, I hope I get like airdrops.
Be solid.
But I don't know, man.
Song now. What's the song now? What song are you listening to the most right now?
I don't know, man. I just click on things, bro.
You do. You know at least one. I know you do. If you can name one song that you could turn on right now and be okay with it in either most likely your current playlist, because clearly you don't have any other playlists going on right now.
Bro, I got like too many. I can't even like, I'll just like go through phases where I'm like, I'm listening to this rapper today. I'm just gonna look through best rap songs of 2015 on Spotify.
Go for it.
I was listening to this the other day, just popped up, and I was like, man, 2015 was an amazing year. And I'll give like, I think the album Rodeo by Travis Scott has some of like my favorite songs maybe ever on it. Like
interesting.
What's on this? Like 90210. Like that's not my favorite song ever by any means. The song Never Catch Me is really good. That's an underrated song. Mac Miller, like the song Smuckers by Tyler the Creator with Kanye, and
like I thought it would have, I like the way you talk about him, I thought a Mac Miller song would have been in any of that talk.
It is. It definitely. I'm just looking through the best, like Tyler the Creator definitely has some songs like that Cherry Bomb album's awesome. Like, man, I like, I'm the kind of person that like over the last like 8 years, like every week when there's a new album out, like I'll listen to the whole album for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'll move on. I'm like, oh, this is, I listen to really everything. But I find like there's albums that came out like a few years ago that have more like long-term repeat value for me now than like stuff that has came out recently. Like there's definitely awesome albums that have came out recently, but there's albums that I can come back to like from that dropped years ago that I'm just like, it gives me nostalgia, it gives me chills, it gives me like, I can listen to stuff that ages really well, it gives me new perspective on some of the stuff. Like Mac Miller songs that are like I like the song 100 Grandkids by Mac Miller. Whenever the day comes when I make 100 grand, I'm listening to that song. The song Jump by Mac Miller is good. Not good. Like these songs are amazing. When I'm saying good, it's like
the almost sad detail in 100 Grandkids is kind of.
Oh, I know. He's like, tell my mama,
yeah. Tell my mama that I bless her with some grandkids. Like, and I was like, that line cuts deeper now. That was just a simple line when he wrote it, and he made that song. But
you know what song aged terribly? is well, not aged terribly, I guess. Like bitter, it aged like very bitter sweetly.
Okay.
Like in
fair.
the song "Perfect Circle" / Godspeed off Good AM. You know that song?
Yep.
Where he basically talks about how when like it's like he's talking about like how he was like really deep into doing drugs and he kind of, it seems like he got out of that hole for a bit of time and made that song talking about like the worst possible scenario that would have happened from that phase that he just got over, but obviously went back into that ended up being his demise. But like he describes the reaction of if he overdosed and passed away in that song, which is just crazy. I remember showing my mom that song and they're like, "Mom, this is crazy."
It's like, it's funny because they like predict or like foresee the future, and it's like, it's weird that those songs have, like you said, bittersweetly aged.
I think I could make a playlist of my top like favorite like top 50 to 100 songs. Like,
yeah.
And I know it sounds crazy because you just like give me one song, but like I don't like. I honestly, that's a hard question, and I'm not. I think some people will like say that, and it sounds like pretentious, but like it is really hard to answer that question. You have one?
Well,
like, do you have a favorite song?
That's what. Oh, I guess I gave you those two.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, if you were to ask me, if that was a life or death moment, you have 3 seconds to pick your favorite song, or you're done.
I think I'd probably die, bro.
It would be either Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror" or Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight." Just the way, just like the production value and like how simple things were with Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight." Like that whole drum solo in there is just incredible for the time that it came out. And like to think that Justin Bieber tried to mimic that in his "Anyone" track. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. I made a tweet about it, and I was like, has nobody else noticed that Justin Bieber basically tried to recreate Phil Collins' "In the Air Tonight" with his "Anyone" track? After this podcast, go listen to it, because I guarantee you, or anybody that's watching or listening to this podcast, go pause the podcast right now, go check it out, and tell me that you didn't think that you can't hear it, because it's almost unmistakable. The build up, the drum solo, it's
crazy,
unmistakable. And then "Man in the Mirror" is just like, it was a whole different like life-changing song for me, just because like I was in some deep, not even like in trouble or anything. It was just like I was in some depressing, like I don't know where my life is going. I don't have a plan. I don't have anywhere to go. Like I was graduating high school and I was still living at home for the longest time. Like I was at home until I was like 25, 26 years old, bro. But like that, and there's nothing wrong with that really. But in my eyes, I was like,
you were caught up in like the noise of other people's shit, you know, like,
yeah, everybody's moving on with their lives and doing all this shit. And it's like, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And it got me out of that. Like I just cranked that song up, and it allows me to just breathe. Mm-hmm. So those two songs alone. So
it's like that Gary Vee shit, man, when he did all those videos where he's like talking to someone who's like 29, like, man, I tried this and I was doing this for a bit and I don't know what to do. And he's like, man, you're still a baby.
Dog.
It's like,
that's the funny thing though. Like my girlfriend's 4 years younger than me. And so she's still in her 20s. Whatever. And it's like she's worried about it because she's like, I should have had my life figured out by now. And this was like when she was like 24. And I was like, no. There's no fucking way.
Yeah, it's
like,
not happening.
I'm 30 and I'm still figuring everything out. Like I'm just coming into the lane of music that I absolutely fucking love to make. And it took me that long to figure it all out because I was trying to be something I didn't really want to be. I was being something that I thought I had to be. Mm-hmm. And like I'm 30 now. I know a lot of people have already done that and figured everything out by then, but it takes time for certain people.
Well, it's like you can't compare yourself. No one can compare themselves to somebody else. Like there might be a lot of like, it's a lot easier to do like I'm not saying it's easier, but like trying to do like something that's unconventional that like down the road has very high rewards and you're going to be totally like you're going to receive a lot of gratification from that. The process of getting to that point is long, and it's difficult to explain to people that don't understand doing that. And when you try to explain that shit to certain people, like it can be very discouraging, their inability to understand what you're trying to do. But I think the best way to do it is just like, you know, really occupy yourself with what you're trying to do as much as possible. Just keep your head down, and like the less you have to tell, like I'm someone that'll get excited about news and I'll share it with all people that are close to me that definitely care and they're definitely excited. But I used to do that when I was like 19. Like if there was the slightest potential of like this really big opportunity, I would like tell everybody. And sometimes that doesn't follow through, and it's hard to like answer the follow-up question from the person you told, like, oh, well, are you still going down to this place and meeting up with this person? Like, what's the latest with that? And I'm like, fuck, that didn't happen, but I'm thinking about like 5 other things now. And now you brought up that thing that didn't happen, and now I'm kind of sour about that, you know? So I think it's, you know, you're a different breed when you're trying to build something on your own. And
I also got to the point where I just got tired. I got tired of explaining things to people. I got tired of living up to expectations that aren't my own. Because I know what I'm capable of, and I know I can do it if I plug away at it and actually put the time and effort that deserves to be put into that, achieving that. It's just like I got to a point where like I lost my best friend 2 years ago in March, and my life got flipped upside down, and I had no idea where I was going to go, but I made a 2-track EP dedicated to him, and like the stress, everything was gone. But I got to a point at work, and I was like, these people want me to rush around, put my safety at risk, all because they want stuff done their way. And it was like, I can't live my life that way. And I'm not leaving this job. I'm just going to do it so I know I can come home. I can see my family at the end of the day, because work will be work. Work will always be there. I can always find work.
Yeah, it's true.
So I had to step aside from all that, put all the fucking stress of even finances. I've dropped down in finances because one, I lost my job at not lost my job, but laid off by Air Canada. And but I couldn't deal. I something inside me just couldn't deal with it anymore. And I was like, that's got to be pushed to the side. I got to focus on me, my well-being, what I truly want to do, what in life I really want to accomplish, and where I need to go, what I need to do this, because I'm 30, but that doesn't mean my life could end tomorrow, or my life could go on for the next 50 years. Like everything is so unpredictable, like we've been saying over the course of this podcast, that I had to stop. And here I go talking about myself again.
No, bro, but that's fine. Like we're having a dialogue.
But
here.
I mean, but I mean, that's what I had to do. That's honestly what I had to do, especially over this past year. Like it's been huge for me because I can't let other people dictate my life. It just like I never thought I was letting it happen until I let it happen, until it overwhelmed me so much that I actually had to stop. And I actually fucking took 2 weeks off of work because I was like, this is stressing me out to the point of where I feel like I have the biggest depression that I've ever had in my entire life, and had to take time off and just reflect, take a time off, like time out from everything. I didn't go to the gym. Like I just literally just absorbed everything because I had to deal with everything that was going on in my life. And it was a time where, so it comes back to it where it's me now. It's like you said, like I've always questioned, I've questioned a lot of people's moves in the music industry, what they've done, what songs they've created. I've watched you grow over these past few years, and you've definitely changed it for the better. But I mean, I've questioned some of your music, but only to the extent of where is he going with this? And it's allowed me to see that you're doing it your way, how you want to do it, not because somebody else is telling you to do it that way, but because you want to do that. That's the music you want to make. And that's what I appreciate in you. That's what I appreciate in everybody that I'm dealing with on this podcast, because I have a respect for these people that I have on here. If I didn't respect you, I probably wouldn't have you on this podcast. FYI to anybody else in the future, if you don't come on my podcast, or I just don't have time. But that aside, I respect you for everything you've done. I respect our friendship, our relationship as in the music industry, bro. This podcast alone has allowed me to talk to you like I don't think I've ever talked to you in my life. And that's what I was hoping. Because I honestly don't get to vent like this. And that's essentially another reason why I wanted to have this podcast, because this shit builds up inside. That's a mental fucking breakdown on the brink. And I need to be able to talk about this stuff. And you clearly are on the same, you're dealing with it the same, few years younger than me, but at the same time, you're still dealing with it in your own capacity. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, like that was a fantastic that was a fantastic rant, no doubt. Like, I think that like what we were just saying, man. Like, it's everything is a process when it comes to like anything. like this shit requires a process. Like, it's not just like overnight. Like, you decide what your goal is, where you want to, the direction you want to go, and then it just happens like that. And that's why so few people get to that point, and so many people kind of pack the bags early. But you really are rewarded for patience at the end of the day.
You've got to be able to go through the dirt and the grime and the rock.
That's what makes the story interesting.
Exactly.
Every person that you look up to has went through that process. And there's those artists that are like, oh, I put out a few songs and 3 months later I had this huge viral hit and now I'm touring the world. But it's like, those guys have a very difficult time of maintaining that over the course of like 2 or 3 years. They might take their money and make some smart business moves, which is fantastic, and they sustain themselves the rest of their life. But the people that, like, any artist that had to actually go through that process of like putting out music that no one listened to and doing shows for 5 or 10 people and going and paying to get on shows and then coming back, like all this crazy shit, working side jobs, like those are the ones that when they really push through. And you can look at anyone like J. Cole moving to New York, dead broke, and then, told his landlord to just kind of front the rent for a couple months and he'd pay him back, and he did tenfold, and then it actually worked. Like, these are artists that are still around past a decade, like, because they appreciate the amount of sacrifices they had to make to get to where they're at. So they're not going to let that just slip. The longer it takes to get somewhere, and the more gradually you build something, the longer you can sustain it. Because it's like, if I have a bunch of fans that I've rocked that have been following me since like 2016, and like every year I get more and more and more, these people are going to watch this like upward trajectory. So they're going to feel like they've been here the whole time. Yeah. And they'll stick around because people like to be in on shit early, So I don't know where I'm really going with this, but I think that, people shouldn't get discouraged when something doesn't necessarily happen the way that they want it to. Like, because it's not supposed to happen like that. Like, there's going to be times where you're on top of the world and everything's going right and you're just celebrating. There's going to be other times where you need to kind of have a little bit more discipline mentally and just kind of put your head down and get back to it, because that's just how shit goes. And like we said, like with the pandemic and everything, it's really forced a lot of people to be put in that position where it's just like head down and like try and stay focused. We've
had to adapt as artists in this time, because we've had to resort to a lot of digital stuff that some artists just aren't used to, especially if you grew up in the physical CD kind of age. Like, this is a completely new step for a lot of people, even though it's been like this for a few years. But it to completely and wholly like rely on the digital side of it, it's overwhelming. It can be a little scary, because I mean, like, I've always spoken about it as I've always been an artist that, like, my favorite part about being an artist is actually performing. Like, there's nothing that comes close to performing live, especially if you get like, I mean, I haven't performed for that big of crowds. I admit it, but at the same time, when you get to perform your music live, there's no feeling that touches it for me. Nothing whatsoever. Because I mean, I can write a great song, I can record a great song, and I can release a great song, but if I can perform that with 10 times the energy and portray it exactly how I've always pictured it in my head, nothing can come close. So.
Yeah, I understand that. I think the sense of community that I get from a performance, like the set, I feel like that is pretty much untouchable as far as just like social environment, that for you to be able to have the attention of majority of the people in the room that you're in, and they're all giving you their undivided attention to hear the stuff that you have made, and you get to kind of be that for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. That's definitely one of the best feelings, and the feeling of satisfaction when you're done and you get off stage and you just like, people are coming up to you, oh man, that you killed that, whatever. Like, oh man, I craved that so bad. I can't wait to be able to do that again. I think that it definitely does contest though, like the moments that I had this moment the other day where I didn't write for like 2 weeks, I think. And I was like, okay, today, like if I don't write for like, if I go like a week and a half, it starts like the longer I go without actually writing, which just kind of justifies to myself that I will most likely be writing music for a very long time, if not forever. Like I'm not someone, like I go through phases, definitely. Like when I made the 23 album, like every single day, basically I was waking up, I was like, there's nothing to do aside from this. So I'm writing a song. Not every one of those songs got used, but I would write a song. I had the home studio set up. I record right there. And that was just a really euphoric feeling. But like there'll be times when I'm occupied by other things, my focus is elsewhere. I still have shit moving forward with the music, but I'm not writing every single day. And the longer that period goes, sometimes like I feel like I need to do it for my mental health. Like I need to actually 100%. Write something, because it's like I got all these thoughts that are just kind of building up in my head. The best way to kind of unload them is to turn them into music, because then you're proud of what you made, and then it's like, oh, this is a documentation of how I've been feeling right here. And the feeling of just like killing a song, like just like you just wrote an amazing song. It's like that feeling of like, that's just like, it's like a triumphant feeling of basically like I can do anything. Like this is a fucking superpower that I just did this. Like I just wrote this and it sounds sick. And you know, that feeling, I might like that feeling a little bit better than performing. It depends. They provide two different pieces of like validation. It's like the performance is like, oh, like business wise, or like as far as like this becoming a realistic lane for the rest of my life, it gets like justified every time you perform, because you're like, I just did a show. This whole thing revolves around doing shows, where writing or making a really good song is like, oh, I can do this. Like I possess this ability to do this thing that will then get me booked for shows. So
they go hand in hand, basically.
They do. Yeah, exactly.
Not basically, they do.
They do. So exactly. They do. Yes.
So in saying that, we come into like the final segment of the podcast. We were talking about favorite songs, obviously. Since it is Party on a Podcast, which is based around Party on a Sunday, I always like to ask, whether you can do it or not, you need to name 3 of your favorite Sunday jams.
You know, it's funny. My dad has a cover band, and it used to be called Sunday Jam. So when you say my 3 favorite Sunday jams, you mean songs that I would listen to
on a Sunday, whether that be waking up, jamming during the day, or because you have a hangover, something that's going to get you through that hangover, or something that's going to start off that week on a positive note, you know? You can do it.
I feel like I don't. Maybe people just think I don't listen to music or something. It's like I don't know any songs, bro. No, I know too many, and it's hard to pinpoint them down. A Sunday song, just because I have "Good AM" by Mac Miller up in front of me here. The song "Brand Name" would probably be a good like wake up in the morning, sunny day type of thing. Anything off his album "Kids" would be good for that too.
Pick a song
off "Kids."
Dude, you got to pick 3 songs. I'm not letting you go without picking 3 songs. So you got Brand Name, right?
Yeah, okay. I'll get off of Mac Miller for that then. Sunday.
something chill, maybe. I don't know.
Something
Like I'm just trying to give you ideas of what to pick from, because like Sundays aren't a stressful day other than knowing that Monday is coming for the work week. But if it is what it is. I mean, you pick whatever you feel is a Sunday jam to you.
I got you.
It's different.
I was listening to this album by, which song was it? At the Door. You ever listen to Marlon Craft?
Yep.
That song, "Lot to Give," that'd be a cool Sunday vibe. A lot of his stuff is like that smooth jazz, hip hop, boom bap shit.
Yeah,
so I think that would sound good on a Sunday. So that's the thing with me is like I'm trying to remember like stuff I've listened to over the last few months, and then that's what I listen to a lot.
Still. So we got Marlon Craft, we got Mac Miller. Who we got next? The last one.
Let's see here. I was listening to the song by, you familiar with Kyle?
Yep.
I listened to his album the other day. I like the song "Bouncing," man. That gives me like, it gives me the feel of like blowing up. I like songs that sound like the artist made them and they just like got like their dreams came true.
Right.
I like shit like that. Very strange pick. I mean, that pick could change 10 times, but
I'm sure that the whole list could change.
Yeah, I'll be pissed after this. Like, I should have said that song.
You will. You'll definitely look back at this and be like, why did I say that?
That's
song?
A great Sunday. I was like, why the hell did I don't even know why I just said like the last 2 songs, but I don't know. I like a lot of music. Whatever. If any songs I like, I would go well on any day. But you know what? Actually, are you a fan of Rick Ross, man? He got great motivational music in the morning. Like, I never listened to his album Teflon Don that much until like a couple days ago. But the song,
is this a swap that's happening right here?
I don't know what it is, bro. But
right now?
I might do a substitution. No, you know what? No, no, yeah. Oh no, bro. You know what? Some of the best, like, no, actually, hold on. Hustle and Motivate by Nipsey Hussle will be a great morning. Yeah. I'm gonna get it. That's like more like a Monday song, or like Victory Lap,
start your week. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the song, and then on Nipsey Hussle, what was that album? Mailbox Money. The best song to listen to when you finally get rich would probably be "That's How I Knew" by Nipsey Hussle. You should listen to that, or "Count Up That Loot," another good one. Yeah, these are just great motivational tracks. But
you're gonna look back at this. You're gonna look back at this and be like, ah, shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
that's all good.
Whatever I can think of the top of my head.
You haven't named good songs, though. That's the thing, though. You named great songs, especially for Sundays. It's just your mood will change. Your mood will probably have changed when you actually see this posted, and it'll be like,
true.
Maybe, I guess, whatever.
Yeah. What a chat, bro.
Well,
I have to do another podcast tonight. I'm doing mine, so that's why I thought it was great to do this on Sunday, because I was like, this will just get my brain operating in that conversational.
That's what we do. Why is it important for you to make music?
Because I need to. Like I just said, like kind of like 10 minutes ago, like I need to have an outlet to kind of.
I figured we had already covered it. I just wanted to like.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Point of it.
Yeah, I think it's important because I need to have that as an outlet to make something that I am proud of, that's just kind of based off of my day-to-day experiences. And I feel like it's important. I kind of make music for my 50-year-old self too, to like go back and listen to how I was feeling about certain things. And like the if you listen to a lot of my lyrics, like there's definitely like a lot of optimism, a lot of gratitude for what I have done, and then a lot of like uncertainty that I can be vulnerable enough to kind of project in my lyrics. And I think that it's important. Like I gotta have this idea that I might run with, where like my last album was called 23, and my next album, maybe I'll call it 24. And then every year up until I'm 30, I'll have an album that'll be based around my age. So I think that it'd be kind of cool to be like, oh,
experiences you had during those ages, kind of.
To my 20s, like maybe I'll be like 43 and be like, man, I'm gonna throw on 26 today. Like just what was good. Like
that's actually a dope idea. I mean, it's a dope concept.
No one steal that. I'm doing that now.
Even if somebody does, dude, you've already done it. A lot of people that may try and steal it will have already been that age. So
yeah,
think
true.
about that. So
you got to be the same age. And I said it to my girlfriend yesterday. She was like, "Well, didn't Adele do that?" And I was like, "God damn it, did she?" Well, she's no way she did 23, 24, 25. Like she did 23.
21, 23, 25 or 19, 21 and 25 or something like that. So she didn't do consistent. So
yeah, I want to do it consistent because I feel like if my career goes in the upward, I said upward trajectory like 15 minutes ago, and I don't want that to be my phrase, but it's a fun thing to say, upward trajectory.
Yeah,
if it goes like that, I feel like it'd be cool to be like when you start blowing, like if I start blowing up at like you start really blowing up at like 27.
But his album 26 is where he fucking took off, bro.
Yeah, but like 25.
If you listen to 25, you'll see the difference on everything, and you'll see why 26 was the blow up point.
Yeah, but he fell off at 29 though.
But yeah, I mean, it's a dope concept because I mean, I could do it now with 30. Like
that'd be cool.
That's all I can do.
Everyone should do it. Everyone be super confused. Like you hear 27, yeah, by who?
All right, so we got two more things, and then you can plug everything. I got a little game called This or That. Just quick rapid fire. Just
I love this shit, bro.
Just to keep your mind going, you know. We don't need long answers. We don't need long reasons. Just
sure.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Writing or performing? I know we already touched on this, but writing or performing?
I'm gonna say writing. Bro. I'm gonna say writing because I need to do it. But if I had to choose to do either or, I probably like right now I'd say like I want to do performing more than writing, but I think I need to write more than I need to perform. But if I gotta perform, you gotta perform to make that Skrilla, baby. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say mental health writing.
Podcast or music?
Oh, music.
Listen. When it comes to listening, underground or mainstream?
Underground.
When it comes to listening, singles or albums?
Albums.
When it comes to making them, singles or albums?
Albums.
New music or classics?
New music.
Travel or homebody?
Travel.
Morning or night?
Morning.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Fame and fortune or cult-like fan base?
This is gonna age weirdly, depending on what answer I give. Fucking give me fame and fortune, baby. I'll sell my soul. Let's go. I don't know. Cult fan base is probably what I'm gonna end up with, but fame and fortune sounds fun right now.
See, the thing is, when it came to that, I think Jacob had a good answer for it. Is like when you do have that cult-like fan base, it can be turned into fame and fortune because that will turn at least the fortune side of it. You don't necessarily need the fame to have the cult-like fan base.
Oh yeah, I want the fortune.
The cult-like fan base will easily turn into a fortune.
Well,
if you have the dedicated fans that the cult-like fan base can bring in. So
yeah, fame and fortune. I just pictured having a good time on like a red carpet and then like going outdoors on a nice patio, which is like things that I just want to do right now. I cult-like fan. Yeah, exactly. Like that's gonna give you the longevity, and it's gonna. Those people are with you forever. It's kind of like the thing I was saying before, like these people that are just gonna follow you throughout the upward trajectory. Yeah. So probably cult-like fan base is probably better. You're right.
That's all right.
God damn it.
And last but not least, the test of all hip hop heads, the question of all time: Biggie or Tupac? Or do you even listen?
Soulja Boy. I'm gonna have to go with Soulja Boy on that one.
Yes.
I'd say I think I feel more from a Tupac. I'm more.
I guess it's like an East Coast West Coast thing. You mean like would you rather listen to the like? I don't know.
I think that I always have a soft spot for music with substance. Not saying that Biggie didn't have music with substance, and he was a more skilled rapper technically, but when I went through my phases of listening to the both of them, I think I listened to more Tupac than I did Biggie. I think that if Biggie was alive today, he would be like it would be like an entrepreneurial mogul. I think he would kind of went like the lane of a Jay-Z, where Tupac, I guess Jay-Z could kind of go into both categories, but I feel like Tupac would be like definitely in like a lot of like political.
Yeah. No, I definitely get you.
He would have
Tupac
a bigger
was definitely the more political poet of the rap genre when it came to that time, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like a mainstream element too. Like was like pop. Like he wasn't really like preaching to like a niche audience at the time, like other artists that might have been doing that had a similar message. Like he just kind of the shit that he said was almost like shock value, but it was real shit, and it kind of shocked you, but it had a message behind it, and but he still like could act in movies and stuff, and then like make fun shit. So like I think that he was like probably I don't know, I'm not gonna say one. I feel like if I said he's one of like the first real superstars in hip hop, then people would give me flack, because there's definitely people that did that before him, but he showed a lot of versatility, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Okay, this or that is done, but that's when you said like Jay-Z, it sparked something that I heard on, I don't know if you noticed, I think it's like Uninterrupted or something. It's like a special on HBO Max. I keep seeing like,
it's like a barbershop kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you know that Jay-Z wrote the demo or did the reference track for Still Dre?
I thought no, I didn't.
They spoke about it. They spoke about it on that show. It was a clip that showed up on my TikTok, and it was like Jay-Z performed the parts for Dre and Snoop like they were on the song, but he did the reference track for them.
Still Dre. So he did it. Did he write Snoop's first too?
I don't know if he wrote the whole. I don't have HBO Max, so I don't really know. I only caught what the video said, but he said he did the reference track for it. So I don't know if that means he actually wrote it or if that's just he performed it how they should perform it. Because reference tracks are weird, right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that he would have. Maybe they had the lyric. Like that would have been a crazy like step-by-step process. Like someone writes it, you perform it the way that you think that they should deliver it, and then we'll give it to both of them, and they'll just go in the booth and just replicate you recording what someone else wrote. Yeah, that's wild. I would think that he probably wrote Dre's verse and then recorded it, and then Dre took it and maybe tweaked with a few things and whatever. But Dre does write some of his shit. Like I think that's
It was just a tidbit that popped up in my head when you said like Jay-Z, and I was like, I got to say this because it's been sitting on my mind, and I was like, I can't not say it, and it's got to be documented somewhere in my life right now. And it's here it is.
Here it is. This is the documentation. Royce the 5'9" wrote a decent amount of stuff on the Chronic, or I think was the Chronic, or I think
could be.
It's kind of interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a fact. I think a lot of like the Slaughterhouse guys did. Not Joe Budden, obviously, but
what can you do? Last important question before you plug anything. How do you want to be perceived at the end of the day as a person instead of just an artist?
I want people to be motivated by my work ethic. My work ethic, I guess. I feel like I want also people to understand that they don't need to like so if perceived as me as a person, I think that I don't have problems with anybody. Like I want the best for everybody. I don't like to really engage in a lot of negative activity. So I would hopefully people could perceive me as a generally positive human being that tries to put out a lot of good in this world and help people as much as I can, but as like an artist and as a entrepreneur, or as someone who's building something, I want people to kind of look at me as someone who, at the end of the day, kind of played by their own rules and it worked out for them, hopefully. Like, and you don't necessarily have to be caged into one particular lane that you might start out in. At the end of the day, like, you could be an artist, but you can also be this and that and that, and don't really listen to people that are like, well, that's not going to work because you got to be like this and you got to do it like this and da 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 da. Like, there's so many people like that in music, and that think that like there's this like step-by-step guidelines that everyone has to follow for it to actually work. And there is some benefits from following some of the traditional methods, but everybody operates differently, and different things work for different people. So you got to figure that out for yourself. But I would like for people to look at me as someone that figured that out for himself, and hopefully I can kind of put that battery in other people to do the same thing, or to do their own version of the same thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I like it.
Cool, man.
All right. So this wraps up the episode for Party on a Podcast. This is the opportunity for you to plug any socials, any new music, anything you're working on. Basically, the floor is yours. Have at her. Let the people know.
Well, guys, I want everyone to go stream all of Mark's music. I want everyone to go stream all the Epidemic classics.
That's EPDMC, by the way.
Yes.
But
yeah, no, look out for so I'm going to be announcing the release date. I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be announcing the release date for my new EP this week coming up. I'm returning. I got some classics in the vault there. Some real personal, vulnerable, really music that I think is like the most mature lyrics that I've ever wrote, intentionally or unintentionally. I think it really shows a lot of growth as far as just like my lyrics. So I think I hope that's received really well. It's a new project I have coming out where I think this is like definitely the first project where like not one song was made with like, I feel like I just made it for me, you know? Yeah. And I think that maybe a lot of people will be able to appreciate that. So new EP coming out, but you can, obviously have the podcast rolling too, have new music videos coming out, some new like live performance videos, and be performing some songs with like a live band behind me and stuff. So I have that coming out as well. So subscribe, check me out on YouTube, Mitchell Bailey, on Spotify. It's the same name across all the boards. So really like Mitchell Bailey on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Instagram, Mitchell Bailey 7, Facebook. You just look up Mitchell Bailey. You could like the page. I mean, also you could add me on Facebook if there's some space there. But yeah, we're out here. Mitchell Square Podcast. That's the new project. That's my podcast. We're about to start opening it up to some guests. Maybe we'll have you on there in the near future.
You got my number.
That'd be fun. I do have your number. Actually, fun fact. So that's my plugs. Fun fact. Your name in my phone still had me before I said champagne bathtub, because your name in my phone has like it should be the champagne emoji, but it's like just like a wine glass, but it has the bathtub, has the wine glass at the front of your name and the bathtub at the end. And for like 6 years, bro, and I only changed this like 3 months ago. You'll appreciate this. You remember that time when I was living in Halifax and we hung out? We were like listening to beats in your car outside of Cineplex.
McDonald's.
Yes, it was like
McDonald's on Main Avenue in Dartmouth.
So I remember that, but there was another time where we were in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Remember do you remember I made a voicemail on my phone?
Yeah.
And I was it was like one of those the troll voicemails where it's like you make the person think that you picked up, but it's your voicemail. So I was like, hey, I'm just here chilling with Epidemic, leave a message, blah, blah, blah. So at first someone would think that I picked up and I said hi, and then I say that I'm chilling with Epidemic and leave a message.
That's when I started doing that, and I did it. I was like, hey, and they'd say, hey. I was like, how's it going? And then they'd go, whatever, and it's like, can you hold on for a second? And then I'd wait and make them wait, and it's like, nah, just playing. Leave a message after the beep.
This is like the most ignorant shit ever.
It was on there for a while, and like when work would call me to go for extra shifts, they'd get that and they'd leave the message saying, "I fell for your voicemail again. If you want to have a shift, better call me back," because at that point they're not happy anymore. So
yeah, well, exactly, and it's crazy because when that shit happens, it's kind of makes you look a little crazy. But I had that for like 6 years, bro. I never changed it, it was off for a bit. And then people started telling me, like, if I didn't answer the phone and they randomly called me, like, "Oh, your voicemail got me. It said you were hanging out with like Epidemic. Who's that?" Like, and this was only like 5 months ago. So I had the same voicemail.
That's awesome.
I kind of, you know what's crazy though? I never heard it. Like, I never was around someone was like, "Call me," and I won't answer so I can hear my voicemail. I should have did that because I think it would have been fun to hear. But yeah, it like went away and then somehow came back. I had to call like the voicemail thing on my phone and like delete it, make a new one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is wild. I need to get this like trick voicemail off there. But I used it like that day we were in the parking lot and I made it next to you. That voicemail lasted for 6 years. So
I had to change mine because work was getting mad at me. So
for 5 years.
It's literally the only reason why.
Did you make it? Probably. Did you make it the same day that I did? Like, did we do that together? I think
so. Yeah. No I'm fairly certain. I made one with you for sure because you did one on yours and I did one on mine. So
we were some hooligans.
Yeah, man. Wasn't yesterday, but it's good times.
Big time.
Anyways, I want to thank you again for coming out for showing up in whatever room you're in. Right?
Not even my room, bro.
But showing up for the Zoom call for this Party on a Podcast episode, I greatly appreciate it. As always, you are, like I said, the homiest of homies. And we've been riding for a little while now, and once this thing finally allows us to travel, I'm sure you'll either make a trip down here or I'll make a trip up. So
most definitely.
Yeah, man. It's been a pleasure.
Dipping out the continent, bro. I'm going to Mars with Elon Musk.
But for real though, bro, I appreciate you. I always much love to you. I respect you like a brother. It's a music thing, man.
You as well, my man.
It's a good community we got here, and we got to do this more often until we get the time to actually travel. So
yeah,
and yeah, thanks again. Take a shot of sunlight, drink in my hand. Do it every week, put my feet in the sand. I can do it someday. Why party at the end of the week when we can party on a Sunday? Party on a Sunday.